The rain started again when I reached the bridge. The air felt heavy, and the city seemed half asleep. I stopped my scooter and looked down at the river. It was brown and fast after days of rain. Somewhere in the distance, people were shouting. Maybe another protest. Another night full of fear. I told myself not to stay too long. It was not safe anymore. Still, I liked this moment, the silence that came after noise, the small space where I could breathe. I was working in Phnom Penh as a foreign journalist. Almost 2 years had passed since I arrived. Long enough to stop pretending I was only watching from the outside. At first, I wanted facts, not feelings. I wanted to stay out of the story. But this city never allowed that. The heat, the streets, the danger, the voices. They all found a way under my skin. I began to care too much. That was my first mistake. I lived in a small apartment above a pharmacy. The walls were thin. At night, I could hear the owners arguing downstairs. Every evening, I sat by the window and watched the river lights. Men fished in the dark, their small lamps moving like fireflies. I liked that sight. It reminded me that life continued, even when everything felt broken. That was where Min came in. I met him during my first week. He worked as a translator and helped me with interviews. He was quiet, calm, and never asked about my personal life. Over time, he stayed longer after work. We drank coffee on my balcony and listened to the city. Min lived with his mother and younger sister near the market. His father had disappeared years ago, during a time nobody talked about. Once, he said, "The past does not leave. It waits." He smiled when he said it. But his eyes did not. Daniel arrived months later. He was 25, from Canada, and worked for an international aid group. He believed peace could be built with the right ideas. He spoke with hope, loud, confident hope. The kind that sounded innocent. At first, I smiled politely. I knew that hope like his never lasted long here. Daniel asked many questions, but he preferred speaking through me. He said I had context. That word made me laugh. I was stuck between two lives. Between reporting and belonging. Between my work and my feelings for Min. Daniel's energy was easy to like. He brought gifts, shared travel stories, and believed deeply in progress. Min did not like him. Help is never simple, Min said once. I did not understand then. One afternoon, Daniel and I visited a village outside the city. Children ran toward us, laughing. Daniel took photos, smiling. He wanted to show hope. I noticed things he did not, the mothers watching carefully, the men standing silent. That night, Min said, "What looks like kindness can also be control." I wanted to believe Daniel meant no harm. But Min's words stayed with me. As protests grew louder, Daniel grew bolder. He helped activists build communication networks. He believed he was protecting people. Min was afraid. People who believe too much are dangerous, he said. I thought he was jealous. I was wrong. One night near the old university, protests turned violent. Smoke filled the air. I saw Daniel helping a fallen student. Then he disappeared. 2 days later, there was an explosion near the bridge. A motorbike. A device under the seat. A foreigner was seen nearby. When I reached the river, I found Daniel's watch. Cold. Silent. The police called it an accident. No one believed that. Min said quietly. Sometimes silence saves more lives than truth. That night, I wrote a short report. No names. No details. Just enough to survive. Months passed. The city moved on. I stayed. Then London called me back. On my last night, I stood on the bridge again. The river flowed calmly under the moonlight. Daniel had believed too much. I had stopped believing at all. Maybe that was the real difference. In London, I placed Daniel's watch on my table. It had stopped ticking. Some things are meant to stay unfinished. Now, I write quieter stories. About survival. About silence. About small kindness. At the bottom of every piece, I write one line. For the one who believed. I never explain it. Those who understand already know.